You're a penny pincher.
So is that like sort of over literalization, or is that lying by omission?
Uh, there are other forms of lying. I think you should read on it. Lying by omission is Kidman, I guess. Kidman.
Thank you. So what is Korea? Is what you call it creative lying?
Yeah, Tavaria is creative lying.
Okay.
ChatGPT, classical Islamic scholarship, both Sunni and Shia, refers to three primary exceptions for lying. I asked it what the minimum bar for lying is. In war, deception about plans or movements is allowed to protect the Muslim side. Number two, to reconcile between people, softening or altering words to end a conflict or restore relationships without unjust harm.
What is that called?
I asked ChatGPT, what's the
question.
Yeah, I don't know what it's called, but it gave three categories. So category one was in war.
Hello, everybody. This is Patrick Gibbons, community activist in
And they
Chicago.
said that we're always in
area.
war
Hope
because they're
everyone's
always
doing
in
well
war
today.
So war is a permanent state. That's what A pointed out. Or AJ.
I'm not sure that's true. I don't know who Saudi Arabia's at. I don't know who Saudi Arabia's at, or maybe the Maldives or something. And then it says to reconcile between people or to protect yourself under
McDonald's near the corner of North
unjust harm.
Tonight, residents spoke in a community
See,
meeting.
I explained, you did not get what I explained. See, Islam categorizes
The impact.
the non-Muslim countries are as Darul Haram, that is the abode of war. Even when they are living peacefully in their minds, there are what all kinds of jihad doing. It is jihad. If you cannot speak out, it is jihad from the heart. You have to condemn it by heart, from heart. Like what is happening in democratic countries, they are electing, they have man-made laws. So the Muslims are to condemn from their heart. Okay, when they are able to speak out, they speak out, like what Rashida Talib and that Somali woman, Ilhan Omar is doing. They are speaking out. Then comes with pen or other means, and then comes the sword finally. So in many of the countries, the sword that they have not reached that level. Okay, only when they reach sufficient strength, they will take up the sword. That's
Okay. You're doing this again, and I don't know if I met you in a room before. You said the same thing about Ilhan Omar. There's no Islamist in this earth that would consider her Muslim enough. Like she is like supports LGBT. She supports the far or the left in America. That's not Islamic, and no one would ever consider that Islamism. Are you aware that the Islamists don't believe a woman should be in a position of power? She shouldn't even be in government. This is why a lot of Muslims that are in her district don't even vote for her. I can show you many clips of them that they don't vote for her. You know who votes for her? A lot of the white progressives. So all the white progressives that, or whatever, black progressives in America that like, Marxism, or not just Marxism, whatever, socialism, whatever it is that her and Zoran and them push, these are not Islamists. And for you to think that they are it's literally insane. Like she would never be allowed to be in government.
Yeah, but Sabina, it's all about perspectives. To an American, they think that they are Islamists. To an Islamist, they're not Islamist enough, but they're still Islamists.
Yeah, no, but John, A is from India, so he should know better. Half of his population is Indian or Muslim.
Know better. And why do you say he's doing this again? He's giving you his opinion, which to him is the correct opinion.
Okay, I can accept his opinion. However, he's not from America, right? And I know that the country he's from, he would have more knowledge on this. I have a lot of close friends who are Indian and Pakistani who are Muslim, right? This is not a new concept to them in the same way Americans might not understand Islam well. So John, I know what you're saying, but I'm telling you, he knows better. He's pushing propaganda.
Oh, really? He should know better, and he's pushing propaganda as if you should know better, and maybe you're pushing your propaganda.
Okay, if she's an Islamist, then I might as well be too. We all might as well be. Okay, fine. Let everyone just be.
I'll answer that. See, there is a concept. That's why I said there's a different concept called Muruna. Muruna means temporary suspension of. 1 second, I'm coming. Temporary suspension of what you call Sharia law to fool the infidels. I'll tell you an example. The ISIS gave a dictate. They issued an order. Those in the West can mingle with the infidels. They can drink alcohol. They can have more, and then to fool the infidels. And when time comes, they can actually attack. This is called lone wolf attack. That is to fool. There was an incident in Europe wherein a person converted to Christianity. He actually took baptism. He 1 second, no. He took baptism and he was a regular active. He went on a stabbing spree. So when authorities investigated, he was found that he was a regular activist. It was just to prove the infidels that he was pretend that he converted to Christianity. So what do you think about that?
So similar to this is love jihad, which Muslim men in India specifically engage in the behavior of pretending to love a Hindu woman, and they marry them, and then things will change. They would force them to convert. If not, the consequences are really bad. So that's just another example of this ideology, which is, in its essence, is menacing and troubling.
Exactly. Now they have gone one few more steps ahead. Now they are renaming their hotels in the restaurants in the name of Hindus, like something religious that is related to Hinduism, and they are also pretending to be Hindu holy men, that is sadhus. Only when the mob questions them and come to know about their identity, they have found to be Muslims. So this is deception by any means. I don't know whether.
Okay, AJ.
Yeah.
I have a question to ask you.
Sure. Go ahead.
Where's the evidence proof that you say that it's allowed for Muslims in a normal situation to, like, under the claim of kitman or whatever? Because you actually lied about what the definition of kitman is. That's also under something that is life or death.
This guy
You can say something by omission, right? That's something that's completely allowed in a normal situation.
You realize how amazing what you just said is? So here's a person who wants the entire world to pay him a tax because he's a Muslim and they aren't. And this is a man who practices 5 different kinds of lying and deception, and how he's accusing somebody else of not telling the truth. This is exquisite. This is exquisite. This is like this is peak of irony. Man, Beto, you've been actually.
It is.
You have achieved a new peak of irony. It's amazing. What kind of deception are you at?
It actually is. The funny thing. The funny thing.
This is unbelievable.
Is that you couldn't even address my point without muting me.
Oh no, we did address you, but you just never
No, you didn't. You didn't. Because when I was in the middle of it, you decided to mute. Going on to
changing the subject.
I was going on to ask AJ what his evidence is in regards to making istihlal on things like pork or alcohol.
Irrelevant.
He will have no evidence for it.
Irrelevant.
Because it doesn't
I
exist.
have a different question, man.
Also the other point that Ali made earlier about
Mando, explain about the different kinds of deception, as you know.
in regards to so you have taqiyya, which is in regards to a situation of life or death. Kitman also is also under that context. in the situation of Tawriya, there is it's not in the same context as taqiyya. For one, and it's not classified as lying. Oh, if you like, I literally brought citations. No, normal. If you go to the chat, I brought citations for every.
You mentioned.
I brought citations for every point that I mentioned.
What is the difference?
No, normal. Here's the thing.
What is?
I'm not just because you're.
What is the difference in lying
and you're trying to constantly mute me? I'm not gonna be ignored.
Avoid the question. I don't know. I mean, that's fine. Nobody
question. I'm not avoiding the question.
It's deception, but it's not lying. Is that what you just said?
No, it isn't.
Okay,
that's not even what I said.
Yeah, it is.
I said that Kitman falls under the same type of ruling as taqiyya. The Sunni version of this, the Sunni definition of taqiyya is different than what Ali is used to, for example. Because Ali comes from a Shi'i background.
Nobody
the Shi'i understanding of taqiyya is different.
He's just gonna talk. Nobody else.
Yeah, if you hide your faith, your identity in a life or death situation, it's allowed.
Last thing, what's that ethnic group that you mentioned you're a part of? Because I want to learn more about that.
Bottom, that's the plural term. Singular term is
How do you spell it?
Habrami.
That's your tribe?
That's not a tribe, no. It's a ethnic group. It's a subgroup.
Say it again, H-A-B.
H-A-D, D is in David. H-A-D-H-R-A-M-I.
H-R-A-M-I. H-A-D-H-R-A-M-I. Hadrami. Okay.
Which country is this? If you don't
They're found in eastern Yemen and parts of Oman.
So you guys are not Zaydis, right?
You said Arman? I've never heard of the country Arman.
So
did you mean Oman?
Parts of Kenya, and originally from like southern Yemen, but they're found in Kenya, Malaysia, Indonesia, and many Gulf states.
Are you claiming these days to be from Oman? Because previously you were.
I said eastern Yemen and parts of Oman.
Are you claiming the? Is it yes or no? Are you claiming?
I just said. I told you where they're. I literally told you where they're from.
Are you claiming these days to be from?
No. What you're trying to do is you're trying to literally. My goodness, even the Saudis and the comments are laughing at you.
Yes,
This is ridiculous.
That's before you were Armenian.
Are you claiming to be from Oman?
I said Oman and not Armenian. Sabine, I never mentioned Armenian.
You used to be Armenian.
I've never said that. I've never said
I know your name before, and you have seen voice.
From Oman to.
Okay, Sabina, what was my name?
Hang on a second, Mando.
He used to claim.
Hang on.
Yeah, Armenian.
Are you claiming to be from Oman these days?
Sabina, like if.
Are you claiming to be from Oman these days, Mando?
I said. Do I need to keep explaining it to you?
No. Are you from Oman? Yes or no?
Yeah, in terms of where my family clan is, yes.
Your family.
So they stretch from. Wait, hold on. They stretch from against Yemen into.
So are you from Oman or not? You're not from Oman.
I
think you answered the question.
Yes. Yes. Isn't okay.
Being very deceptive. We're learning a lot about.
No more. Are you listening? I said Lufa.
We're learning a lot.
He's doing takia. He's doing takia. Yeah.
Sabina, I'm not doing takia.
This is Takia in action. Takia Clown House.
This is practice. Yep.
Like Sabina, like relax. This is not takia.
Everybody is relaxed.
No, I won't ask you.
Just because of, no, I'm literally people who are geographically illiterate.
No, we just asked you where you're from and you wouldn't answer.
I just said, do you not know where, look up, okay.
What did you just say?
Normal. I'll let people do the talking.
What did you just say,
Look up the region.
What did you just say, Mando? What did you just say?
I just said Lufa.
Okay, you're from Lufar, right?
No, Lofa. Dhofar. Look at where that is.
Okay, so you want me to guess where you're from?
No, it's not guessing. Anybody can
That's
look
it.
up.
Okay, thank you for participating. That was really good.
Look up where this Lofa is.
You're a man of mystery. You're too mysterious to tell us. Eerie. Then he says, I told you. Then he says, you're too stupid to know. Then he says, use Google. And he can answer a question. I mean, it's tedious after a while. And this is also, I think, a conflict between civilizations and cultures. There's literally no way to get a straight answer. Sorry.
He's trying to get back up.
Let's tell somebody else because he's like, it's just deadening to hear such brain dead avoidance of a simple conversation.
You know, even if he was telling the truth, which I have no way of knowing, this concept of deception that people give examples, it makes his answers or non-answering questionable. So again, it's a problem. Should we believe him or not? These concepts of deception exist. So that becomes very problematic when you deal with Muslims and ask questions because this ideology of deception exists. Actually, in several kind of ways in Islam, and so there we go. That's this problem, and nobody will believe you if you are ignorant, just because of these deception concepts in Islam.
I mean, I can't think of any other world religions that have embedded multi-layered deception practices. I can't think of any other world religion that has that in their system of belief.
What will it take to get
the Quran itself? Are they in the Quran itself?
What will it take to get Islam to undergo to self a reform, a reformation, so that violence and killing apostates and infidels and jihad? What will it take to reform the religion to an actual religion?
The woman would have to turn on the men from the inside, I think.
Well, it's underway right now with MBS in Saudi Arabia. Al-Nama, what do you think?
That's what I was hoping.
Also, let's not exaggerate MBS's, presumed kind of leniency towards women. The two things that I can remember in the last decade, the two things. One, women allowed to drive, whoopie-doo. And the next one is women are allowed to leave their homes without being chaperoned by a young male of the family. If you call this progress, they might guess. These are the crumbs that some Islamic countries, including Saudi Arabia, pretend that they're progressing. Is nonsense. What we've seen so far in Islam, actually, in the countries like Turkey, in Indonesia, and other places, is progressing in the opposite direction, regressing. Is becoming more radical, and in a horribly bad way. So, I appreciate your ambition, your desire for this religion to modernize itself, but modernization and moderation and Islamic ideologies are contradictory. It will not.
I don't see somebody spiritual here. Hate to dump all this garbage on you guys up right now, but like I said, she's a great person. But it wouldn't be respectful to her, to women as such, when the guy goes with a woman that he doesn't respect. Just can't be that way.
No, I totally get it, and don't apologize. I ask. I actually have to head off, but Shabbat Shalom to everybody, and I will catch up with you later.
Yeah, thank you for your Yeah, I'm sitting ready to make the trip. Got anybody out there, Jefferson Park? nice poster. Skoki's a place. I don't know. Is Skokie still mostly Jewish? Or at least considerably Jewish? They still have my delis that I like over there? Oh, August 30th, Jewish Sequence event. $15, such a deal.
Example, I never had to live, obviously, as a Muslim woman, but I feel like the younger generation of Muslim women, they want to work, they want to have more freedom, they want to be able to have love relationships and not have arranged marriages and so forth. And it seems to me that this is, at least from a Western perspective, it's inevitable. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I don't understand Islam very well. There are people. Go ahead.
I mean, there are people. I'd settle for them not killing people who disagree with them.
Well, you're asking a lot.
There is a huge obstacle when you look into Islam against reformation that will actually last and implement strong safeguards against misogyny and inequality and apartheid systems. When you examine Islam, for me it's really like a constant revolution towards the past, because there's this deep belief that is mainstream to Muslims, that the prophecy is that the Ummah, meaning the community of Muslims, is in charge to implement the Golden Age. And they're trapped because the Quran, being the direct speech of God, they cannot distance themselves from the scripture. And Muhammad being the best example, and he had a very questionable attitude. They are just trapped to always worshipping this man that made such horrible things, including child marriage, genocide, being a warmonger and a misogynist man. So they're trapped, and they just believe that the more they're close to his society of the 7th century, the more God, they're in charge of God's plan. And this is placing Islam closer to ideologies like communism. When people are so delusional, they really think that they can erase inequalities or evil from the world and achieve this perfect world under Sharia or under communism. And so you have to consider that aspect of Islam that is present so much in Judaism and Christianity, except for very, very, very small or old sects. And so this delusional dream is what makes people insane. And this why does Islam really work in synergy with the leftist mindset? That's because there is a revolutionary will. And why does it also blend in when the right is leading? That's because they have a very conservative approach. So this is the mix, a constant revolution towards the past. That's important.
I have a question for the room. Can I ask?
One second. El, can you pin the link that I have sent you? This clear case of Moruna facing the disbelievers that he has converted to Christianity and then bombing, Liverpool bombing.
So you sent this to me back channel?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll look for it. The gentleman who wanted to ask a question, go ahead and ask your question.
Yeah. Thank you, Lenovo. This is a question for the room. There have been polls done there's a specific poll I'm thinking about, done of over 8,000 Indian Muslim women, which found that 67% of Indian Muslim women wanted to ban Sharia law inside India. Now again, India has something like 230 to 250 million Muslims, so I think that's a lot of Muslims. Why would Muslim women want that? And does that suggest that there is a stream of liberalism within large chunks of the global Muslim population?
I can answer that. I don't know what is the exact percentage, but women have been suffering a lot in India because the personal law is allowed, that is Sharia law is partially allowed in India. The punishment part is not allowed, that is Ahud is not allowed, but the personal laws are allowed. So the clerics have been using, not only the clerics, even the family members have been using it to subjugate women for since independence. even before independence also. If you go to the courts, you'll find a lot of divorce cases where they are not getting any maintenance, and even property, even the division of property. The first claim to property of, if I'm a woman, my father's property would be divided among his relatives, and only a part of that would be given to me. So that puts a lot of women under the mercy, at the mercy of relatives of their relatives. So when those women who are aware of this are actually fighting against this. They want the secular law. So one of the advocates, you know what he did? He remarried according to Indian Special Marriage Act, which gives the right of property to his two daughters. So now the people are following this. Instead of going only for Islamic marriage, they are also registering the marriage under the special provision, so that their property can be given without any legal dispute to their children. Not only that, there are many other cases which is languishing in Indian courts, which takes a lot of time to resolve. And usually it is to the disadvantage of the Muslim women, because this all are interpreted as per Sharia. I mean, the religious books. So that poses a unique problem. I look at triple talaq. It was so prevalent among the Muslim men to just say talaq, talaq, talaq.
Un poquito de estudio en colegio y la escuela de la secundaria.
Say talaq,
Para
talaq,
4
talaq,
años.
just divorce the women. After having 3 children, where will she go? She's not even allowed to have a job, or not allowed to have a property, anything, nothing. So she is on the streets. Her children are also on the streets. Now she married someone else, and then these children will be abused by the stepfather, and the abuse goes around, and they will not be raised as a good citizens. So definitely, women are getting educated. They want to do away with the Sharia law. Yeah.
So here's a question: why isn't this the case with UK Muslim women, where there is far more support for Sharia law than there is support for Sharia law in Muslims who don't live in the UK?
Some of them are confronted to Sharia law and they know what it is, and some of them in the West, they fantasize about this, and when they see horrible facts about Sharia in other countries, they say, those countries are not real Muslims, and it's not the true Sharia. We believe in the true Sharia, where women will be happy no matter what. That's the double speech that they have.
Like the communists. Oh, that's not real.
Exactly.
That's not real social.
Exactly. It's failing everywhere, but it's still a winning model to follow.
One thing that I've listened to a few people that I don't know have degrees or whatever and stuff, and they can talk about this at length. Another thing is that there's actually quite a societal divide between Muslims and everybody else in the UK. And I think that part of the reason why it's specifically second generation children of immigrants that are born into Muslim families that are actually much more extreme than even their parents were. I think part of it is because they feel like outsiders in the UK. Literally what I feel like is happening. And so they actually find a lot of their identity when they're coming of age in Islam. And that's why they're becoming more extreme than they are where, in Saudi Arabia, they're the youth are all leaving Islam en masse, right? So yeah, I really think that's a huge part of it as well.
Is there a contrarian in the room who actually can support or espouse Sharia and tell us about the beautiful, wonderful benefits that people can enjoy? Is anybody here an actual supporter?
Not a supporter, but I can explain why people like it. Because it's totally designed for Playboy men. I mean, it's totally designed for players. Other than that, yeah, go ahead.
I would like to ask Sabina a question. Are you from America?
No, I'm from Somalia.
Okay. I'll ask a question about Ilhan Omar. Ilhan Omar once claimed that Islam prohibits interest on loans, isn't it? So your student loans will carry no interest. Can you explain me how she gaslighted the people? Because I'll explain after that.
Can you explain how she gaslighted them? Sorry.
Yeah.
He's asking that how Ilhan Omar has said that there should be interest on loans, right?
Yeah.
That she's made comments like that.
Yeah, to me is he saying that's Takia or is that politicians? Because Biden said he would get rid of all the student loans too. Every politician promises to do something. So
This is a different thing. What he's talking about is Ilhan Omar saying to get rid of interest itself as a concept.
I understand that, Anand, but politicians make promises like that. Like Biden said that he would get rid of student loans altogether, not just the interest, the whole thing. That's what he was promising. He's claiming that when she does that is Takia. One moment, sir, hold on. She's a politician in America, right? So you're arguing that when she does it, it's Takia. She's not even a devout, like.
Oh, he's arguing that it's Sharia, Sabina.
That it's a form of Sharia when she says it?
Yeah, abolishing interest is a Muslim concept. That's what they're saying.
Okay, hold on. This is what I don't understand, right? And this is why some people need to understand the different geographical locations, right? What's happening in India is not the same. When Ilhan Omar left
Sabia, wait, let's stay focused.
Okay.
Do you understand that in Islam they do not like interest? Do you understand that?
Yes, I know that. It's called riba.
Okay. Hang on, wait, hang on. So what the other gentleman said was that when Ilhan Omar says we should abolish interest, that is a Muslim concept. Do you get that? Abolishing interest. Okay, that's all he's saying.
Right, but I'm arguing that that's not coming from her Islamic perspective. That is actually coming from the what do you call it? Like the what's his name? No, Bernie Sanders and the whole socialist group.
Bernie Sanders never said abolish interest, and socialism never said abolish interest. It's a uniquely Muslim concept.
They have said to abolish student loan debt.
Right. So abolishing a student loan is not Sharia. That's not abolishing interest. So if somebody says, for example, I want people to wear a hijab, you can say, well, somebody else wears a hat when it's cold out. Yes, they do. But wearing a hijab is different. So abolishing interest is a specifically Sharia custom or law. That's all he said.
Okay, that's fine. Look, there's going to be certain things that Muslims say that are very similar to other Abrahamic religions because it's the same. It's an Abrahamic religion, right? Now I know that.
But wait, Sabina, this is not like Sabina. This is not like an Abrahamic religion. This is specifically Sharia.
And Sharia is part of Islam, correct?
It is Islamic law.
Okay, so and Islam is not an Abrahamic religion?
That's not relevant to what we're saying.
No other religions talk about getting rid of interest.
Ilhan Omar, who is a Muslim woman, suggesting that we abolish interest is a Sharia idea.
Okay, and I'm asking you guys, and that's all I'm asking, to acknowledge the fact that yes, she's Muslim, but also acknowledge that she's from Somalia, and Somalia never had Sharia law. She's never lived under.
Not the question, but you do understand.
My answer is that
abolishing interest is a Sharia idea.
Sure.
And nobody else has ever said that, except for her. Not Bernie, not Biden.
Okay, so hold on. The nuns wear head coverings, yes?
Yes.
Normal? Okay.
Yeah.
So is the Pope implementing Islamic law when he tells them to cover their head?
Not in that case. No? That's different than interest.
Oh, so there's overlap. Hold on, so that means there's overlap.
No, there isn't really any overlap. She's the only person that ever suggested that. So are you denying that Elon Omar suggesting that we abolish interest? Are you denying that that's a Muslim idea?
She doesn't know.
It could be a Muslim idea.
Which
No, hold on. Can I respond or?
Head coverings are not even like law by like a specific like theocratic state.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that okay, she's not an Islamist. That's all I'm gonna end the conversation with. If you guys and normal, you know exactly what an Islamist is. You know what Hamas is and so on. If you're arguing that she is, then you know. AJ said she was. Were you here when he said it? Well, that's exactly.
Leftist.
That's how I see it. Exactly. I see her as a leftist. Exactly. She's been saying every single thing that the leftists say. That she parrots all of them. They all say the same stuff. What's it called?
She protects trans rights, all that.
Right. Which would not fly in Muslim countries. That's why I don't get. Thank you.
Directly contradicts.
Okay, thank you.
However, there's a difference with banning interest and the rest of it. Banning interest does not come from any other major political faction in the United States. That's different, fundamentally different. Now maybe Ilhan doesn't know that. She's not very well read.
Guys, my prediction came true, by the way. Remember, I told you Jews bring Muslims into the West? Well, guess what? A Jew in Canada just got attacked by a Muslim, and it was recorded, and it happened right before I said it would happen. It's on.
Thank you for that. That's very insightful.
It's 24 hour. It's 20 hours old. It shows a Jewish man, and I think his daughter's about 5, and this guy is beating the guy up, and the girl, his daughter's swearing all over the place, something like that.
Oh yeah, I've seen the video. It's pretty fucked up actually.
But this somehow is trying to blame Jewish people for bringing Muslims in, which is like kind of like a Aryan nation, you know, like KKK, like the Jews are destroying society by bringing black folks or by bringing Muslim folks. It's a particularly virulent form of delusion that this guy was promoting. It's not stupid.
Okay. The point I was making was,
I want to just make sure Sabina understands this. There's a concept of usury in Christianity, but that is for excess interest. It's not for zero interest. The concept of zero interest specifically comes from Sharia law. I don't know any other like major thinkers or philosophers who push that. Now, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there is something, but I would like to know who that is.
okay, I'll finish the issue. Okay. Thing is, you will hear only about the ban on riba, that is a loan, interest rate. But the problem is how will they get around that? Okay. Now what they do is they rename the interest. They call it profit. For example, if I take out a loan of 100,000 US dollars, they will add 50,000 US dollars to the original amount, make it 1,50,000, and call it profit. 50,000 is the profit, and then they will divide it into EMIs, and you will have to pay the EMIs. And the Muslims themselves are complaining that this is more than the usual interest rate they would have to pay. See, initially they will never say about this. And you know what? If I was talking to a banker, and he was saying that we are getting a lot of deposits because the Muslims are not taking interest, means they don't want interest. I told them, do you know what the other part says? He said, no, we don't know. See, the other part says this is a real trap. When Muslim is investing in a company or in a bank, you're not giving him interest, but you have to pay him a portion of your profit. So what is the percentage of the profit that you have to pay out? It is defined nowhere. So if they ask for 50% profit, you have to give them because you have not given them interest. So this is the kind of trap they put you into. They will give nice, sweet promises. When you're trapped, then they'll have your back.
The reason you have that perspective is because your country used to be ruled by Muslims, right? So that's probably why you have that perspective, right? That's why you're like, oh, if they come in, they'll take over and so on, because that what happened to you. Hello? No, but that is what happened to you. They were ruled by Muslims.
No, but you're saying it's specifically he has that view because that's what happened to him. That's literally what's happening in all of the Western countries. They're claiming their shithole countries and then trying to establish the same rules of law.
By the way, people who speak like this on the right, they consider India a shithole country too, and they think they're the biggest immigrants to the country. What's your response? Every country was a shithole country at some point, and then became something, and then went back to being shithole, and then became something, and went back. It just comes and goes. It was a shithole too.
When was America a shithole country?
Are you serious? You don't know how bad it
I'm dead serious. When was America relative to the rest of the world a shithole country?
Compared to many places in the 1800s, 1700s, 1600s, it was a shithole.
1800s America was that was like
You're talking about the proxy war that the Americans and the French had on the land? That period you're talking about?
You made a claim. You said
yeah, but
when that was.
In the 1780s and 1790s, America was not a rich country.
I mean, at the very founding of the country. Okay.
Exactly.
And moving forward, 100
So it was like a shithole country for like a year, and then it became amazing, basically.
No, not a year. A long time.
You know, going back.
I would actually say that the reason why the U.S. has never been a shithole country because since its inception, it has had the Constitution, which has actually made it so that people can't get away with as much. I know that there's a lot of corruption in the U.S., but nearly as much corruption as to like what's happening in the UK, for example, or what's happening in all those shithole countries, you know? So I would actually say that it was never a shithole.
Sabina, you know, I was just reading the Constitution yesterday and the day before, and it is actually a rather complicated document in terms of reading it and being able to comprehend it. It's rather complicated because it takes in hundreds of years of English legal history and theory. So there's a lot of thought that went into those rules. You know, and so I'm just wondering, like, do you think the Muslims also have a, you know, if there is their set of rules, like, is it as complex as the Constitution?
Yeah, I would argue that the Quran is a very difficult book to read. You would have to learn Arabic. Yeah, it would be.
Oh, I can't read an English translation. I gotta read it in the Arabic.
You have to learn. No, you can learn. Was he asking me or okay? Never mind, John. You could just ask Simon.
One second. One of the things that it is very simple to read and understand, and you're saying it is very complicated. You're going against Allah. And Sabina, see, we were ruled by Muslims. We were invaded by Muslims. That would be the right phrase. Okay, and we were ruled by
So you weren't ruled either?
We were ruled. We were invaded and ruled by both the Muslims that
Is it fair to say colonized?
colonized. Exactly.
Right, and so hold on. So if you come from a country where you were colonized and mistreated, wouldn't that make your view of it different than other people that haven't been exposed to it? Right? That's why I'm saying I can understand, right?
So
how you have a
he's
negative.
anti-colonial. I thought everybody is anti-colonial.
Yeah, that's why okay. So if I could just land, that's my point. When
I'm not
Islam,
pro-colonial.
when Indians criticize Islam, I think it comes from an anti-colonial perspective because they're colonized. So their way of understanding and pushing back against it is normal.
What about just that?
No one likes to be invaded and influenced. Am I allowed to finish talking, Simon? What I'm saying is, okay, you know what? Stop. You know what? Don't ask me questions. I just want to listen from now on. Because if someone asks me a question, and then I can't just talk, so I'll just be quiet.
Say something, please. If somebody asks somebody a question, please let them speak. Go ahead, miss.
Well, let me ask you one more final question, Sabina.
No, don't ask me questions. Ask someone else.
Okay, let me ask some other people in the room. If, the former speaker, Anand said that being a Muslim is like being a playboy. Like it gives the guys all the great benefits and the women are kind of used as like chattel. So, like, what are the great benefits of joining Islam?
Andrew Tate can tell you.
Is that anti-Semitic, Jew-hating kickboxer who rapes women in Romania?
Anand, stop trolling. That's right.
It can usually promote like a toxic masculinity type of model for young boys, and it's attractive because they don't have to do anything. Since young boys do achieve the
That's not true. That's not true. The men have to. Also, being a martyr and fighting for your land that's not a hard thing to do.
Sorry.
If the Muslim men are supposed to protect their country and die as a martyr, that's an easy thing for a man to do. Isn't that easy?
That sounds like a cult of death, Sabina. You're making this work.
Okay, and Israel having forced conscription for kids to be in war all the time is also a cult of death, you could say too, correct?
No, that's called democracy. That's not called.
So how come they don't have a choice? Why is it forced conscription?
Well, they do have a choice. They can do social work instead if they want to.
Okay, perfect. No, okay, you have every right to defend your country, right? But if someone said to you that the kids who are fighting right now in Israel, that they don't have a hard job, you would get upset, right? So don't say that.
17 and older, they're not kids like in Islam.
Because if they have to fight for their country and if they die as martyrs, that's a hard thing to do. Don't say that it's an easy thing to do.
They don't die as martyrs. Why are you making up shit, Sabina? Why are you lying on it?
Don't
You
talk
can die
about
as a martyr.
Muslims.
Anyone could die as a martyr.
Nothing.
Yeah, you can.
Do you read Hebrew? You said you have to read Arabic to know the Quran. Do you read Hebrew?
So that's called it will attract emo people, gothic people. No, really, that's not serious. Like between polygamy, having the right to beat your wife is your possession. As a man, you don't have to prove much. You just have to
And
be
pedophilia, don't forget pedophilia.
Just have to be a man grants you like so many advantages and privileges. It's just is it physical and obvious or something?
Yeah, I also want to point out Israeli conscription and Islamic sort of martyrdom they're nothing alike. I mean, Israel's drafts protect its people from actual threats, and they train soldiers to survive and defend the country. Martyrdom, as used by extremists, about seeking death to harm others. One defends life, the other destroys it. So the comparison is absolutely ridiculous.
Right, the suicide bombers, Sabina. Your friends.
The ones that target civilians, yeah, they're terrorists, but regular soldiers that fight for their country are not terrorists.
Oh, like Hamas?
I never said Hamas.
Well,
Actually, Israelis were refugees, They were occupied the land, we give them shelter there.
And why do you assume I'm talking about Muslims now? What about all the Muslims that were in combat for thousands of years?
Thousands and thousands of years? Really? I didn't know thousands and thousands of years.
The Jewish people not belongs to the land of Palestine. There is no Israel anywhere.
You should look at your book, Father. Hang on a second, son. You should look at your book, brother. Brother, Israel's in your book. Look it up.
can be great, but
Man, Allah is against. You just talk about Israel. Many Israel and many times in Quran. And I would like to answer Sabina on the Indian issue. See, we have been colonized by both British and the Muslims. So we never kept grudge against British. I was pissed off as a Christian, as an ex-Christian. I was pissed off British more than the Hindus themselves. But they don't remember. They don't keep all this grudge against Christians or. And what happened? The Muslims. It was not the British who divided the country. It was the Muslims. In 1934, they asked for They asked for a separate country because they said that we cannot live with the polytheists. They got two countries which they said that we'll make paradise out of it. What is the condition of Pakistan and Bangladesh? They're shitholes, much more shithole than us. Yes, we are a third world country. We are very complex, and we are progressing. We are a young country, and it is too complex. Unlike other countries, it is too complex that it will take some time to get our act together. I agree with that, but we do have a space program, and see. The problem is now the Muslim population, there was no total population transfer to Pakistan. Those who voted for Pakistan stayed back in India. We allowed that. If it would have been any other country, they would have kicked them out. And now what they are doing is now their population has increased. Now you know what happened in my country? The Muslims took out a procession and a 10-year-old kid, I don't know whether he is 10-year-old, less than that probably. He has actually called for genocide of Christians and Hindus in India. We call for genocide of Christians and Hindus in India. This is the condition. This is what Muslims are doing in my country. And other things that they are doing is they drove out Kashmiri Pandits from Kashmir. 2-3 lakh people are refugees in my own country. Those are Hindus. And they are not allowed to.
500,000 non-Muslims were kicked out of Kashmir in a matter of days in 1990. That's what
Exactly. You know what announcement was made from the mosque speakers? Leave, convert or die. Leave, Chile. This was from mosque. This is happening in the free India. Okay? We don't have problem with the other. We have got other minorities like Parsis. We have got Zoroastrians. They are the best minority that we have. They are the pioneers. We have got government in exile from Tibet. They are living peacefully here. But this is the only minority that is creating problem for others. That is why we have to take some steps for our own survival. It is not because that we hate or do something. We allow them everything. Even Sharia law is implemented here. Personal law is implemented. What else do you expect? But you are still not satisfied. I am a minority here. I am living peacefully. Believe me, if you are peaceful in India, you can live a very good life. Nobody is going to snatch your women or nobody is going to snatch your property. Imagine what would have happened if I was on the wrong side of the line. If I would have been in Bangladesh or Pakistan, believe me, my mother, my sister, everybody will be abducted. There will be always a threat of abduction. I cannot have property because anytime a Muslim they would accuse me of blasphemy and kill me. Even in conservative areas in India, I had beef. Like in the Hindu majority, I used to have beef. You can have beef, okay, discreetly. But the Muslims want to show their power or we'll cut open your rubber cow and show you tools. I will, provoke you. That is when problem happens. By the way, Hindus from my area, they have beef.
Hey, Tobias, you're here. What's up, Tobias? How you doing? That was an epic night last night. Holy shit.
That went on for quite a while. Actually, I left. I don't know how much longer you guys went on for. But when did the room close?
It didn't close until like 4 o'clock today or something.
Wow, it's crazy.
Yeah, or 3 o'clock, yeah, something like that. I don't know, leaving, but yeah, that was epic. Yeah, and fucking hell, that was like, yeah, it was just fun. Thanks, man.
Yeah,
First time back in the half in a year, that was epic.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Tobias, I have a question. Actually, here, give me just 30 seconds.
Yeah, as long as there's AJ, that I've always felt that I know that most Indians are like good, hardworking people, and they're shaped by their sort of culture and faith that actually value respect and tolerance in their community. And Hinduism, which is obviously the majority religion, teaches good principles, very much connected to like non-violence and harmony. The country's challenges are obviously made worse by many decades of aggression and terrorism from Pakistan, but the people continue to live and work and build. So I think earlier the comments about India as being a shithole, I think actually that kind of ignores the reality of who people actually are and what they stand for.
Well, I'm not saying that the people are shithole.
No, I'm not responding to you, Simon. I was responding to.
I directly said India was a shithole.
Was that it? All right.
So I mean, like again, but like that doesn't exclude. Like I would say, like Nigeria is also a shithole country, but like Nigerian people are extremely hardworking. So it's not to discount. Like the actual people themselves.
Yeah, it was. Like, you weren't the only one that said that. It was also that lady, that Muslim lady earlier, where she said it in a way that was directly not for the reasons that you said it. That's what I was mainly referring to her.
I lived in India. I loved India. I don't know. I had a great time when I was there, so I don't think it's a shithole country. But so Tobias, my question for you is, what do you think about all of the protests going on today in like every city in the UK? Do you think it's going to work? Do you think people are done with it?
What are the
What's going on? They're migrant protests essentially, all over the country. Small towns, big towns, cities. Yeah, I was kind of watching the news earlier, and they were like kind of going to all the different cities, kind of like interviewing people, and so it's in at least 40 towns and cities, but I think there's a lot more going on, because I saw them in my town too when I was in town. It was smaller though, but yeah. What are your thoughts on this? Because it's getting pretty crazy here.
Yeah, I've been kind of busy all day. I read a little bit about it. It does seem a bit crazy, man. I need to kind of read up what's going on. I kind of have a gist of what's happening, or can you enlighten me, if you wouldn't mind?
Yeah, it's specifically to do with the hotel, the migrant hotels, and they're like protesting at the hotels in all of these different cities. So it's like specifically towards, I don't know if people know what's going on, but in the UK right now, there's something like 250 hotels across the country, all over the place now, where they have been taking these illegal migrants and housing them in there. And the Labour government has been telling everyone that it's mostly women and children, when in fact, like, there's even statistics out there saying that it's like 75% men. And we've been having a lot of issues with them. There have been like a lot of underage girls who have been raped by these guys. Women are getting sexually assaulted. These guys are not coming from the best places, maybe what Simon would consider a shithole country. And it's getting to be a pretty dire situation in the UK. And I think that basically the UK is like about to explode. So that's my thoughts on this. And a lot of people are saying it.
Yeah, from following what is happening in England, it's very pathetic situation. Even now, even now the boats are coming and the government is not unable to stop it, despite the PM saying that we'll be deporting them. And as soon as they land, these migrants, they go hang around the schools and stare at all these young kids. It's pathetic, man. These people have to, if kids are not safe, how will a parent can settle down and be at peace? It's paranoia it will be always been paranoia. like what is going to happen to my kid. And the schools are like teaching these kids, introducing them to Islam, taking them to mosque, and doing all this kind of shit, teaching about Islam. This all should be kept away from schools. It should be personal matter. Somehow, even the Christian preachers who are preaching on the road, even those who are playing silently are being arrested by the police. Whereas the Islamists, they are taking out big processions, blocking the road for prayer, and doing all kinds of nonsenses. Nothing is happening to them. Absolutely nothing.
Well, yeah. So AJ, so what I will say is that I think part of the outrage is obviously that like women and kids are in the state now in many of these towns, and they're putting them in little towns that like some of them are even outnumbering the actual like main population of the town, and there's a bunch of these hotels that are actually like right next to schools as well, like just like public children's schools, and there's like, you know, story after story, mom just like sees that there's like these random guys that are like on their state given cell phone filming their children going to school and things like that, and it's just getting like super dire. And so that's why the UK is essentially breaking down right now, is because, and I think the other side of the outrage that's happening is the fact that we are paying something like $50 billion a year to house these people. So a huge chunk of our tax money is going to these people, and then they're coming here, and then they're making our children very unsafe. So it's like, yeah, so that's sort of the issue at hand right now, and that's why it's kind of boiling over.
Yeah, I'm just reading about it now. Like, yeah, no, I did read about this earlier, but I didn't know too many details. I've had quite a busy day, but you know, I can see why people are angry about it. Yeah, I guess a lot of people worry about sort of safety and, you know, sort of cultural tensions and stuff. Yeah, I think it's good that people are finally kind of speaking up a bit, but I'm not sure how much will change, because obviously the government has been ignoring immigration concerns for so many years now, you know.
Yes, the Brits themselves are sleeping rough on the road. You know, they are homeless, and these people are housing terrorists. And pensioners, I think pensioners are being evicted also, you know, in some cases.
My name is Tina Peters. According to the media,
the entire life, paid the taxes, paid the bills, doing everything as required by a good citizen. And they are being thrown out on the road. I don't know what's happening. If you're good, you'll suffer like hell, isn't it? And I'm seeing young women on the road, you know, homeless women. Such a sad situation, and they are thrown to this woods. Anything can happen to them.
Yeah, I mean, one other big thing that happened that has people up in arms is that one thing that specifically happened that has like veterans up in arms, for example, in the UK, is the fact that there was like a government funded veteran housing estate that they kicked all of the veterans living there out to rehome migrants, like boat people, which is pretty outrageous as well. It's like they care so much about those people that they're willing to like throw their own people under the bus day in and day out, and you know, allow children to get raped, allow women to get raped, allow weird fucking things to happen. Like, I don't know if anybody saw the viral video that happened yesterday in London, where like a guy literally just like clearly like a guy, boat guy, just pulled his dick out in the middle of the subway in front of kids, and like I think like 6 guys just joined in and like beat him up and did a citizen's arrest on him. It's like a super viral video that literally just came out.
I mean, you gotta look at it from. Can't you see it from the perspective of the Muslim man who's 28 or 32, living in a hotel in a foreign country that he's never lived in before? He just came out of a war-torn place, and he's angry. He's not feeling that great about his situation in life. So he might take risks and opportunities that violate the law and are antisocial behavior and are destructive. I'm just saying, what is the perspective and the attitude of the migrant living in the hotel in a major Western city?
So I could kind of disprove your point. So actually, the majority are not coming from war-torn countries. They're actually coming from countries where there's no war going on currently, and when they're being called for essentially economic migrants. So it's not, they're not coming they're coming here to get free money, essentially. Because I'm all for saving refugees, getting people out of war-torn countries. If people are unsafe, I would say that the UK, now that it's the rape capital of Europe, I would start to say that women and children should probably start migrating out of this country. You can go to a safer country. But yeah, no, a huge portion of these guys are not coming from war-torn countries. They're coming as economic migrants because the government is giving them money, giving them free housing, giving them a cell phone, they get a weekly allowance, and most of them are ending up with permanent residency in the country.
How many of them are sent back?
Almost none. Almost none.
What's the process? How long do they wait before a decision is made?
Well, there's so many people that have